Hangout in the Crib community show. Today we're going to be talking about the last raid because we missed a show last week. And we are going to be talking about OP7 and dock12 changes, a bit about the blade missile, and some other bits and pieces. So if you just want to introduce yourself, guys, don't care who goes first or whatever.
Yeah, I'm a juicer. I'm from the. Hi.
Stephen W. from the.
Wayne Leg, aka Legman.
And I'm Bernard Moore from WSS.
Okay, so what we'll do is, if we talk about the raid first, we'll start with you, Burning, because you did actually do quite a lot of the raid. What did you find of it?
The fleet I was using was a Frostburn V2 fleet with the new missiles, which I coined onto the fleet, and with a mix of the Disrupt ones and the other ones, the R's and the D's. I found the Elite easier than the Siege, to be honest. I seemed to take a lot less damage. 24 coins, and I got that down quite a lot with the Grease Monkeys. But it was still quite hard. Only a select few could do it as well, and it's only because I spent so much coin preparing for it. I don't feel a non-coin or any moderate coiner could have done it reasonably, to be fair.
Alright, cool. What about you, Legman? How did you get on?
Well, I struggled a lot. I didn't have a lot of sub-killing fleets, but I grind away and tried to experiment, and unfortunately a lot of the experiments didn't work, like using the sub-carburetor, whatever it's called. It didn't seem to work, and a few other things didn't work. I grinded away and got a few points, but not many, and took mostly tokens. That's it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people done that. What about you, Steve?
I actually set this one out for the first time in about 3 years. I got a couple pretty disrespectful responses to some of my customer service tickets, and I kind of just said, screw it. I needed some space from the game. So, like I said, I took the first one off in 3 years. I'm kind of pissed that it didn't do 4 million points across everyone, because I said took the first 2 days off, and then after everybody else got 4 million points and I had 0, I definitely said, fuck your raid.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that they could have done that a bit better. It should have been 4 million across the board. Because
I would have
obviously,
kicked around and played the last day or two if they had given me 4 million, but I'm not going to come up from nothing.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's certain people that obviously wouldn't have been able to get on if they've been working during the week and stuff like that, had prior commitments. So, there are certain people who can only play at the weekends and whatever. And, yeah, it did kind of shaft them. I think, like what we said on the update show during the week was that they pretty much pissed off everybody they could piss off, really. How about you, Medusa?
Well, I did try it. I didn't immediately dismiss it. I knew it was going to be hard. All raids are increasingly
Oh
hard.
God.
But hello, Paolo, welcome. But what I did try it, and everything that I threw at it died horribly initially. So what I did, I actually refitted my Grimshine with the Harrier missile, and tried that, and still everything died quickly. I was using missile fleets with it and an Aegis, but it didn't seem to make much difference. So I thought, right, I know, I'm going to try depth charger on the Grimshine and see how that works. It did make a bit of a difference, but nothing massive, as those subs were way too quick for it, so it needs something to slow those subs down.
Yeah, agreed. A mix of the depth charges with a frostburn. Once you get into that frostburn field, worked alright. But again, yeah, it's the speed of the things that kind of make depth charges not great.
Yeah, I refitted the wrong thing, I think, obviously.
Welcome, Paolo, to the panel. You still there?
Yep. Sorry, I forgot how to unmute my mic for a minute.
No worries. Just going to turn you down a little touch because you're a little bit loud. How did you get on with the raid, mate?
I did pretty good in the raid. I used my V2H R10 fleet. I used a mix of Harrier missiles and the Harrier 2.0 missiles, I like to call them, with the slowdown. I did fairly well. I got the 3 of the limited weapons. Got the Neptune. I didn't get the Aegis. I really didn't want to grind out another 35. So I kind of just cleared out the rest of the board. But the V2H fleet did pretty good. I had a Frosty lead on it. Mostly I had a all D5E on it except for one bulkhead. So and my D5Es retroed. All my specials were retroed. It was tearing up those subs pretty good. I was able to do a full elite almost before my fleet died. I had to go in 2 times, but all in all, it wasn't too bad.
All right, cool. I think that was pretty much the key to it, was that you needed to have a full fleet of thermal ships. I think a lot of the trouble that a lot of people were having is that, historically we've only used sort of like 1, maybe 2 ships with thermal in a fleet, and it's sort of been fine for sub hunting. But obviously with the amount of subs that were in there and the resistances on them, once you lost your thermal ships, then the rest of your fleet was completely useless, really.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nice gone, Kara.
I said, yeah, these new subs seem like they had a lot of plate armor on. I think, with the new Neptune coming out, how it has the siege deflection portion of it. I think that's honestly what we saw in this raid, was this new siege deflection coming into play and seeing how it worked.
Yeah, I think, well, more the assault deflection, because the siege, I think, is just for turrets.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my bad.
And the assault is for obviously incoming assault weapons. But yeah, that's another reason why we'll get onto it later. How the blade missile is going to be really good for it. Obviously, with the Harrier, you've got a lot less damage than what you've got with the blade in a single shot. So the plate armor that just detracts a set amount of points away from it is obviously going to be taking a bigger chunk out of what you're doing damage-wise than if you have a single shot weapon with a higher health point damage on it. So,
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
yeah.
Is there anything anybody wants to mention
Yes.
about the raid?
Yes.
No? Yeah?
Yes. I have an issue with these the blade missiles that you're talking about, in that I have seen them being used in a clip somewhere, and they look really good for killing subs. But the problem that I have is I did not, unlike most players, did not get those missiles because we just couldn't simply do the raid without wasting a lot of fleets. So if we're gonna encounter this sort of thing again in the next raid, there's going to be a whole load more not taking part. I'm a bit concerned about that.
Yeah, the Trident missile was the one that was available in the raid, which
Okay.
was a bit broken to start off with, which has got flak. Well, basically it's like a coax, but it doesn't shoot down mortars. And yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It was broken. The countermeasure part of it wasn't working very well, but they seem to have fixed it a little bit now. It wasn't working at all on rhinos. But the blade missile is actually available in the tier 4 of the Forsaken mission.
Oh, okay. I'm getting mixed up then. Sorry, I do apologise.
That's all right. No problem. So, anybody else want to make any other comments about?
Yeah, I was just going to sort of like address the thing. I mean, I think the raid itself, like the fact that Kixeye's actions during the raid proved that what the community felt was actually totally on board, because I've never seen him do so much. I don't know what you call it. Like defensive backlash with the 4 million points, for the changing the points, the opening up of their thing on Monday. They did so much to try to calm the waters down. There was actually a couple of people, because of that, gained. Not many, but a couple. Like, for example, one in my alliance, he started the raid and he goes, oh, I can't do this with my fleets. And he was right. He could not do it with his fleets. No way. But he got the 4 million points. And he got the 4 million points and used it on the B-Torps and B-Torps and tokens.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Kickside done was, I think, because to start off with, they pissed people off by locking the campaigns. So you couldn't choose which campaign that you wanted to do. You had to do whichever one related to your level. So that was the first thing that pissed everybody off. The second thing was that they got rid of co-op, which then pissed loads of people off. And then I think the people who actually done the raid and managed to be able to do it because they had the specific fleets that were required to do it, and then spent their money to open up the sector bars, and then when everybody else hadn't bothered, when Kickstarter opened them up on Monday, I think they pissed them off because they'd spent loads of money to open up the bar. So I think they tried to please everybody but pissed everybody off.
Plus, they one of the tactics that a lot of people try, and I do it too. Like, for example, the raid before, we'd prep out the elites with subs and other small fleets. Then when it was weak, then go on with a bigger fleet, finish it off, then put that bigger fleet on repair, then go and start grinding one wide bigger fleet repair, and maybe throw 1 or 2 coins out at here and there just to finish things off. You couldn't do that this raid. You couldn't small coin, really.
With the co-op thing though, I can see it from both sides because a lot of the smaller players were getting under level 50s were getting sort of fusion crews and everything from the previous raids because their higher levels were doing the raids for them essentially and taking on the sort of level playing field for their sort of level. So they were getting fleets that were higher than quite a lot of the say 80s and 90s got, because of they have a few high-level coiners in their group. But from the same angle, you've got people that were willing to work together and wanted to work together to reduce the damage between them. So there are both sides to it, to be fair.
And if I can say something on that, Wolf, that I agree what you're saying, and I've seen level 45s and 47s with kick-ass fleets and good defences. But the problem I have with that is and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but the problem I have is it's like the shutting the gate after the horse is bolted. It's too late for that. There's already low level was with high tech to hit bases and that. So really, it's too late for that, really.
Well, okay, so now if we're using your thinking, if it's too late, then by your thinking, they should have the tech available to do all these raids, since they already have met that bar where they have fusions, they have this, they have that. If they have all this new tech already, then what's the point? They already have it.
I agree with
Not
that.
necessarily, but not totally necessarily. It depends on what they got. It's like fusion cruisers weren't that great in this raid if you didn't have certain things. What I'm saying is hitting. I've seen level 47s. They've got fleets that can hit level 90s and that basis. It depends what they've built. What I'm getting at is levels don't mean nothing now. Absolutely nothing in this game anymore.
That's true.
That's true, and I don't think level locking should be a thing anymore. But I don't think it matters whether if someone's level 40 and has fusions or someone's level 90 and has fusions. That doesn't matter. All right, everyone starts out on a base on like a level playing field. I understand why they did the level locking. I understand why they did the co-op locking. And if you think about it, so think about it from a gaming perspective, right? You're pushing out a new product, all right? You don't have mass testers. You don't have the ability to have 50,000 players test your new thing and find all the bugs with it, right? So on a daily basis, their site says they have 75,000. Right time they have a peak of 95, all right? They don't have the ability to pump out all these bugs all at once. So they have to kind of get like a baseline of, okay, how is the normal average player going to do with this? How are they going to do it without help? If you want a co-op, you can do 55s. You can do 35s. I don't know what the problem was with people doing those 2 tiers. I didn't see too much of an issue with them, obviously with the right specs, with the right build. But, they have to test these things. They don't have the ability to, have 50,000 players go onto a test server and say, hey, test this new item. Don't leak it, though. Don't, give out information. So they had to do this, And no matter what Kixeye does, they're always going to be harped on. Whether they give us 44 million points, whether they unlock the sector bar, or whether they don't. It's a lose-lose situation for them. And I'm not, defending their actions or anything, but you got to look at it from a developer perspective,
I
Agree.
sort of agree on that. Sorry, Medusa. We used to test things for Kickstarter. Used to have the test servers, but too much got leaked while they were doing that, so they couldn't do it. I would love to have players testing this stuff, because there are some players that will find stuff that Kickstarter will never even think of. It's the same with every game that you play. People find things that the developers or the company will never think of, and you can't do that without players being your testers. But when the players are leaking stuff at the same time, it ruins the sort of essence of what they're creating.
I
See,
don't
the
know.
thing
I disagree.
Well, the problem with that is they used to just do a live pick, like, hey, here's the password, jump in the test server. We've said for years that it needs to be a group of reputable people that have proven their worth in the community. Pick the top 1,000, pick a mix of coiners, non-coiners, people that do shows, people that are, people that are vocal in the community, and work with a trusted group of people. But the whole first come first serve, here's the password shit was just stupid. And were people really surprised when stuff was leaking when you do it that way?
See, but the problem with that stuff is, how can you tell, like, okay, so for me, for instance, right, I would love to do test servers. I do a show every now and again. Obviously, I haven't, lately because of moving, but I don't have a single forum post. There's quality players out there that don't post on forums. There's no need for us to post on forums, right? So us getting locked out of it, that's kind of, I wouldn't say discriminating, because I really don't give a fuck. But still, it's not letting us get a level playing field, if you want to, label it that way. Um, Honestly, test servers, we
Yes.
need them, but we don't. You know, they
I
they obviously need to take way more time than what they do pumping out new content. That's all that they need to do.
right. I would disagree. Sorry, but every software house has testers. In-house testers. It's part of something a software house should do. The developers are very intelligent people, and between them and the testers, they should be able to check everything. There are going to be teething problems initially in most software that's written, but yeah, you're right. I agree with Stephen. The only way to do it is to have a select few testers that they can trust, that they will not start spreading rumors. That's the only way they're going to do it, to get
Or
regular
they need to
people
do
to
it like,
test it.
there are certain people in the community that have NDAs with Kixeye, and if they want to take 500 people and get them to sign license agreements, they can do it the same way they did with World of Warships, and put overlay every 3 inches, put your ID number and your background for why you're playing on the test server. You start taking photographs, you start tweaking shit, they'll know. You start putting out videos, they'll know. It's not hard. There are steps they can do to get better information to make their game a better, far more quality product. They just won't take the right steps.
I'm gonna, I've let you chat for quite a bit. I'm just gonna chirp in here. I mean, it'd be good if they could do sort of a post and they could interview people either on the forum or within game. And if you put something in the game with a link that you can say, I want to apply to be a tester or whatever, and then go through and pick people out from that group that have got from different aspects of the game, really. So you've got like some top end players, some lower level players, stuff like that, and then get them to test the individual parts that they want to, so there's nobody's got like a full picture of what's going on, but they could test certain parts of it. Would be another way of doing it, so then you wouldn't have as much to be able to leak, really, and just have numbers in in the test server, so that obviously nobody knows who's who. So you don't know who's testing what, so you can't really collaborate together. That's another way of doing it. But it's something that we've been saying for ages. It does need to happen. They need to test more, not just with raids and stuff like that and getting players to test it, but they need to test the damn product as well. How many times have we had things released this month that's been the Trident missile, not working on anything that's got remote targeting. So they need to just slow down and just test stuff before they put it out, really.
I think there might be a lot of pressure on them to get a lot of stuff out, and that's probably where they're falling down. You've got all this new stuff in the, from the weeklies. You've got there's a lot of new stuff coming out, and I think that's probably what part of the problem.
And it really sucks because no matter what they do, someone's going to complain about, oh, they're not pumping out products, or oh, there's that big one. It's like, oh, there's too much stuff out. When is enough really enough? Everyone's like, oh, I still have to build fleets from 3 months ago. Do you really have to? If you think about it, like there's fleets from like 6 months ago that you can build that'll probably do much better than fleets that you got 3 months ago.
The key to BP happiness is to give up the notion at the very beginning that you have to build everything that you get. I mean,
Definitely.
good God, unless your last name is Zuckerberg and you have the bank account to match, I don't think you're going to have the money to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to chip in here as well. I'm very selective about what I build. I don't build everything. I refit a lot of stuff that I've already got ranked and stuff like that, just for like a cheap refit, which will do probably 90% as well as what a brand new fleet will do. You don't always need the latest and greatest, but obviously with the way that the game's changed in recent times, it's moved on so quickly with the Antipode launcher and stuff like that. It's made a lot of fleets obsolete very quickly. So I can understand some people's frustration with it at the minute. All I can say is plug away and get those rhinos done, because they're going to be really helpful for everything in the game, really.
I'm actually liking this Neptune pretty good right now. Honestly, it seems like a frontline Rhino.
Right, so enough of the raid. Shall we move on? Well, obviously we've got Paolo's perspective on the Neptune, but has anybody else got any sort of comments to make about the Neptune and the prizes that were available before we move on?
Nope.
I
No.
was looking at the Neptune, and me and one of my guys were in quite a heavy discussion about it. And if you're using it without the scythe, that we feel that the Rhino is a better ship than the Neptune for the bonuses that the Rhino gets over the Neptune, because the Neptune might have an extra armor slot, but because of the limitations of how much you can put on it with the amount of weight that you can use, that the Rhino seems better overall. So unless you can make that scythe fully usable, the Rhino seems a better option than the Neptune, personally.
Man, I can't. If I wish I can record it, but there was a guy who used one single Neptune, and I don't know if he was a hacker or if he was just someone that had coin to kill. But he would run into a base, and with the scythe, of course, I think he's a hacker because he had no other weapon besides the scythe on there. But he would go in and he'd prep ships out with it, and he would run in there, take a shit ton of damage. He used a sub decoy if he was able to, and he would go in there and take out all these ships that had stationary targets. This thing does some nasty damage to stationary targets, I'll tell you that right now. It is no joke. I have it on mine, and if the target's sitting still, and you can actually see the target's health bar go down pretty quickly. Although I think it does need to be tweaked a little bit because it's not doing in a real battle situation. It won't matter. Either your ship's gonna die before theirs does, or theirs is gonna die from other types of fire.
Yeah, I saw it in 85 and as well as base. And in the 85 itself, it didn't seem to do much damage because the ships were moving. So the missiles, the blades, or I can't remember what missile I was using, but were hitting way before the Scythe was. But in a base, it seemed more effective. But it just didn't cut it for me, really. Just watching it. To be fair, I still think the Rhino without the Scythe is a lot better.
Right, cool. Should we move on then to OP7? Who's started OP7 and who hasn't?
I have.
I think we all started it. We got 18 days fucking wait.
Get your 24-hour ship building token from the Forsaken mission. Then you have 17 days.
Well, I didn't get it this week because we had a new prize in Tier 3.
Yeah, but if you're going to go through it twice. It's only one extra 85, isn't it?
Yeah, I might be in that situation soon once I get this Jug-X done and get it to a high 90s building penetrative damage resistance. But it's still, I can't do it till after this raid, so it's going to be next week before I can start doing it double, unfortunately.
Right, well,
I still put my Fitbit on backwards.
if you're doing tier 3, you've only got to hit one more target, and then you can get tier 3 again, haven't you? On the 85, and then that gives you the 24-hour building token. That's all I was saying. So, what does everybody think about what you get with OP7? Does everybody know all of the bits and pieces that go with it?
I noticed that there was more land available with OP7. Do we really need it?
So what they've done is they've increased the base footprint 1 square in each direction, so you can now build a bigger base. They've given you 5 land tiles, 20 extra wall pieces, and they've given you 2 extra turrets. And then you can get level 6 turrets now, which bump the armor on your turrets right up to 54,000, and you get 2 special slots on the turrets as well. So there's quite a lot in there, and obviously you can have the dock12, which is 38,000 tons now. So what does everybody think about it? Does everybody think it was needed? Do you think that the weight increase on the dock is going to help out a lot?
No.
I think that's pretty massive. I think that it completely and radically changes the way that I can do stuff. I've had a lot of boats that are kind of half potential because of the weight high end for a 5 ship. Or 5 ship fleet, sorry, misspoke. I'm pretty excited about that with extra 7 tons, 7,000 tons across the fleet.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm a bit concerned about the extra weight on the ships. More armor means more time for repairs.
That is an issue, but what I've tried to do is just beef up the weapons rather than beefing up the
weapons and specials. I mean,
that's
what
I'm hoping. Sorry.
I was going to say, most of the weight you come from is the advanced ones that do total weight percentages over, say, armor. That's where I think that you're going to get the most advantages playing with those specials that you couldn't use before.
The thing I'm looking forward to is the fact I can change my base. Maybe I'm hoping I can change my base layout to put a better guard fleet in, a bigger guard fleet in, which in turn might just manage to hold off a few attackers that
I think with the upgrade of the outpost, the upgrade of the dock, they sort of cancel each other out. So you're going to get more turrets, you're going to get more fleet on your defensive fleet, but you're also going to get more on weight on the attacking fleet. So it's not going to make much difference apart from where it's going to be more repairs. So it's going to be longer repairs. So you're going to be hitting less where you're going to be coining more, one of the two. The big change will be in PvE, where you're facing the kickside targets, basically. Are they going to make the targets harder to go with the dock, or are they going to keep them the same? Like, you can take less damage now if you've got the extra dock level in, say, an FM target, or are they going to make the FM target too harder to go along with the new dock level, or are they going to keep it the same? Same with raids. The last raid was hard. Are they going to put in with the outpost and the dock weight? So with the extra dock weight, are they going to make the PvE targets harder, basically, to go with the dock weight, or are they going to keep them the same?
I think that maybe they got the release dates wrong for the raid and the dock12. I think they got them swapped around the wrong way, to be honest. Or at least I'm hoping so, anyway. And the extra weight's going to help us out a lot.
I mean, honestly, I don't think that, OP upgrades and dock size upgrades are gonna affect or even correlate with raids or salvages or drag attack. It's not gonna, that's not gonna matter. They're not gonna gauge off of, oh, they have OP7 now, they have the ability to build heavier fleets. They're not gonna increase it. I mean, honestly, how much harder is this raid gonna be able to get? They've already said they're making changes for it, so I don't think we have to worry too much on that front.
Welcome, Rob.
Bitches.
Hiya.
So, what's your opinion of OP7, Rob?
Fucking hell, it's a broad question, isn't it? I like it. It's at first impression, it's a bit overpowered almost with the amount of armor and shit on turrets. But judging by the way that they're going with weapons and stuff on attacking fleets, I think it's perfectly fine. I like the way there's a lot more creativity now in base designs with the Outpost 7. So not just in regards to how big you can build a base, but with the variety of turrets now you can build with your power. It's a lot more than before. I know Larry was saying, weren't he had to build some flax just because of the lack of power. So it's good for that purpose, more variety and stuff. I think people need to think outside the box with the bases and not just copy their old ones and add a bit of land to it.
Okay, cool. Does anybody else want to add in anything with regards to the OP7 changes at all?
I'm going to be busy for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's like 190 days to upgrade all your turrets.
Yeah.
I think that's worth it. I've seen people bitching already, like, oh, what, is it 2 weeks to build a turret? Like, well, you're getting 57,000 armor. What do you expect? That's pretty reasonable, I think. 2 weeks.
Right.
I mean, I don't think Kickstarter. Obviously, there's going to be those. I've seen some already who coin everything and have everything straight out of the bat. But they're in a different game to most of us. They're in their own little fantasy world of the riches and do what they can. But for the average Battle Paris player, it's a long-term thing. You're not expected to have everything immediately. That's the problem with people in this game today. They want everything straight away, and then they complain that there's too much content. You can't have both. Take it gradual, build one turret at a time. I've still not done on my level 5s. I've got 2 level 5 platforms left. I know people who had them done in the first week, and I'm still stopping fleets just the same. You just got to be patient.
I don't know how to put this in the best way, but I agree with what Rob said, and that's what my comments I've said numerous times about when people coin things. They're the ones that create, and I've got nothing against coiners that keep the game going, but they're the ones that create the overload and content, because they're the ones that normally end up saying, well, I've got nothing to do, I need more content, I need more content.
Like I said, they play their own game, don't they? Leave them to it, and look at them as inspiration. If they're willing to go out and spend their way through the game, it saves you having to refit because you learn off them. You learn off their mistakes and they pay for it, whereas you can get the build straight away and the tips and stuff like that. So it's not a bad thing having coiners in the game. They keep the game free for the people who don't want to pay.
An example on that is today I saw someone hit the base at an 85 and a base with the new Neptune fully ranked with the scythe on it. And I learned from what I want to build from it and actually messaged someone for help on it, because the build I wanted to do for it was wrong, basically, because it seemed like it was the same as theirs, and it didn't do what it should be doing, or it didn't do what I wanted it to do because I built it wrong, designed it wrong before I even started. So if I would have started to build that, and I got all the way through it, and then found out that I built it the wrong way, then I'd have problems. So I look to these heavy corners, like Rob said, to know my mistakes before I even start.
Right, cool. Shall we move on to some of the Forsaken mission tech? Or is there anything else we want to? Oh, I just want to say that we're at 13 days for a res gen upgrade. Get the fuck out of here, really. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't think there's really a need for that. I was honestly surprised they even, increased their production that much.
I keep level 1s in the base just for the save option to make sure that stuff's repairing at the end of the day. That's the only reason I've got them in my base.
Honestly, it's a retarget risk. Those things are like I know personally for Rob, I've seen him retarget off of anything and everything. The less you have in your base, the less risk you run of people fucking sniping your shit out. So
I
are they
retard for
needed?
kids.
One. You need one of everything, if that. Just
I
honestly
think
an oil.
the only reason I'd say you should build them is A, if you're a small level and you don't really have many friends and you're just looking to play solo, you can't open res, which, to be honest, is pretty stupid because you can, but it's always good to keep the res topped up when you're a small guy. And as for anyone above level 10, I think the only reason you'd need it is for tactical effect. So if you're wishing to stick on a like a radiation suppressor or something like that, then arguably you could use it there. And also the little boom booms on the oil rigs, combustion triggers, they're useful as well. Play strategically, as long as they're not in a stupid place like people who run them up the whole entire channel. But having them around the entrance will certainly deter people when they peek you from getting the fuck out.
Yeah, definitely. But oil rigs and shit like the Xinthian mines and the metal factories and stuff all around your base are it's not really needed. So
No.
I don't think they're just adding more content. If you get around to it and you build everything and you just have spare shit open, hey, go ahead, why not?
Well,
But
the way I look at it is all the time you're spending wasted on stupid things like this, you could be upgrading a turret.
yeah, exactly.
Right, so if we move on then, I've got Larry's article up. Let's do that. So in the Forsaken mission, we've got 2 new prizes in Tier 4. We've got the Blade Missile, weight of 300 tons, 1014 damage, same range as a Harrier, same accuracy as a Harrier, 80% flak evasion, same reload time as a Harrier. So, how many of you are pissed off that you've put Harriers on your rhinos and stuff?
Me.
I am.
Not really, because I mean, I'm going to argue against it and say that they're still useful. You can't live too much on the risky side of it and be like, oh, I'm not building this just in case, because people who build this, there's going to be a summit in a few weeks, whether it be a missile or something else that's going to outdate it. You got to pick something you like, stick to it. If it works, keep using it. I've got my Harriers and Disruption mix on my Rhino. I've got no reason to refit blade missiles on because they work perfectly fine for how I use them. So I'm not sweating about it and getting in a hissy fit over something new coming out. I might put these on my Mastodons instead, but I think people need to not worry so much about the new tech. If they can build it, great. If they've got something that works, keep it. Build something new.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about it. I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks that I have Harrier and Disruptor missiles on mine, but at the end of the day, I can still refit. It's not a problem. I'm not really too worried about this new Neptune. It'd be nice to have, but it's not something that I really want. So I'm probably just gonna refit my V2H for the next raid. I think that's when the big prizes are gonna come out, honestly.
Now these are missiles. How much is it? Like, is it 9 hours to build or something? It's not a lot. You could easily
It's
change a couple of siege for it.
yeah, it's actually right on line with the Harrier, I think.
Yeah, so it's not like you're waiting a day and a half per missile or something. I think it's it's reasonable.
No, it's 9 hours and 11 minutes. So it's not bad at all, really. The Harrier's 4 hours and 8 minutes, according to this. But yeah, so
I'm
it's
really
basically
hoping I can.
Don't forget as well, if you're mixing missiles, it's not like it used to be on like Kodiaks and stuff, especially on Rhinos, because you got that remote target. So if anyone's thinking about, maybe keeping a couple of their older missiles to save on their refit, but they're worried about the range, just remember about the remote target.
Yeah, because all the range is exactly the same with Harriers and
Yeah,
Blades. It
but
should.
some people might want to keep some siege missiles just for the sake of build and repair, refit times. So it's not the end of the world, is it?
No.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, if you haven't built a missile fleet yet, and you have the Harrier, you have the Disruptor, and you have the Blade, definitely, obviously, build Blade. If you have, Harrier and Disruptor, and you can't get the Tier 4, don't sweat about it. It's not something that, it's not game breaking. It's nice. It's really nice, actually. But, you're still gonna get the same effect with Harrier and Disruptors.
I think that's what people worry about too much. They worry way too much about refitting, and then they get caught on one fleet for a good month or two just refitting, and then 1 month, 2 months down the line, they're complaining that they've only got the one fleet, and they don't feel like they're getting anywhere in the game. That's because they're getting stuck in a refit cycle rather than just accepting they have a good fleet and moving on to something completely different. You can't focus too much of your time on one fleet, one thing, otherwise, when it gets outdated, you've got fuck all else to use.
so. Just want to go through this. What's in Larry's article? Larry's run the numbers on it and has compared missiles on Rhino with 45% rank for the damage per second per 100 tons. So as you can see, it's obviously the same range as a Harrier missile, but because it's way up here, the damage is a lot higher. So the Trident and the Blade, pretty much a similar sort of damage per second for the weight, but you can see how good the Blade missile actually is when you compare it to all of the other missiles we've got. Especially when you compare it to like the Siege Missile Z, which used to be the king of missiles. It's a massive, massive difference. Um, you know, it's there's loads of good points about this missile. It is the daddy of missiles. So if you haven't, or if you've just started building a Rhino fleet or a missile fleet, in fact, it's definitely something that you want to try and aim for in the Forsaken mission.
But if you're thinking about the up and coming raid, if it's anything like the last one, I feel the Trident missile might be better for it on Rhinos because of the countermeasure. So you're shooting down the missiles that are incoming if it's working correctly at the same time, and the remote targeting would work the same with the Blade missile or the Trident, wouldn't it?
I mean, honestly, if you have if you're getting shot at on your rhinos and you have to worry about counter missiles, you're doing something wrong. You're supposed to keep those guys out of the fight as much as possible. And the range, the remote targeting range. Remember, remote targeting also depends on how much range your missile has. So they have like what, 50 range, something like that, 50 or 60.
50 on a Rhino.
Yeah, 50 on a rhino, right? So you have to remember that they're good. Trident missiles are great, but if you're worrying about them using countermeasures, then you've never played a Mastodon or you've never played a Proto-Mastodon, obviously, because those are not frontline ships. They're not meant to be frontline ships. So you really don't even worry about the whole countermeasure portion of that missile.
I mean, what you've got to remember as well is that if you're firing offensively, it won't actually work as a countermeasure anyway. And in most cases, because of the range and the remote targeting range on it, you're going to be firing at most stuff. And the way that they rush in on you, I don't think that the benefit's going to be there from the Trident. as much as you would think it would be, purely for that reason. Because if you're able to fire at something, then you're not going to be shooting anything down. I think that the blade missile, because of like what I was saying earlier, they've got the assault deflection with a certain amount of hit points that are removed from the damage of the incoming projectile. So, and that's per salvo, rather than like plate armors work. It's per salvo. So if you've got a higher damage weapon over a smaller damage weapon, you're obviously going to be doing more damage.
Don't forget as well, if you're really worried about shooting some of those missiles down, mixing the blade missile with a couple of phalanx is useful. You get a bit of the missile buff as well. And phalanx are better at shooting down missiles than the tridents anyway.
Agreed. Is there any more questions or any comments you want to make
Yeah.
on?
I'd like to hear the panel's view as we're talking about missiles and we're talking about raids. That would it be good to put some destructive missiles in there as well?
Yeah. It wouldn't be harmful. It's just, same as a Harrier in the sense of damage and stuff and range. Having a few of them on your fleet would really help just keep them back a little bit. Because don't forget, some of these raid targets have rockets on them. You want to kind of keep the distance between you as much as you can. So yeah, it's not a bad idea keeping a few disruptors on.
I think what everybody's got to remember with this type of raid, speed is key. Having weapons that hit underwater is key, but they need to be fast weapons. They need to be accuracy-based weapons, not splash weapons. Because of the speed of the targets, splash weapons aren't really working too well. For example, depth charges. So, missiles are your best bet for it. The blade missile is probably going to be one of the better missiles to use, mixed with a few disruptors. Because you're reducing their speed, which allows you to run away quicker. So, and also as well, I'd say that having a full fleet of thermal equipped ships is going to be key to getting the raids done.
And also get as much rank up on your fleet as possible.
Agreed. Yeah. I think the more thermal ships you've got in there, the better off you'll do. Because I noticed that when I was trying to use mastodons in a fleet, like with an Aegis and Frostburn and another ship, that once the
No, you were good.
started, that was pretty much it for the fleet. You weren't doing any extra damage, and because obviously you couldn't
I love you.
retreat from the targets. Oh, thank you.
I love you.
No. And
Stephen's very passionate about these missiles.
so yeah, it's just something to think of. Once your thermal's gone, whatever the rest of the fleet that you've got in there is not going to do any extra damage, and obviously you're going to take damage because you can't retreat out of the targets. So it's definitely best to have all thermal ships, which means the Rhino's probably one of your better options. V2Hs, Frostburn, that kind of stuff is going to be your better options over using, for example, a Mastodon fleet with just like a couple of thermal ships. I don't know if everybody agrees with me on that one.
Yeah. Good
Sounds
idea.
good.
Right, Rob, have you got anything you want to
Unreactive.
add? That's just number one for now.
That's top priority every single week.
Is that a new thing, is it?
No.
Sarcasm. I was being sarcastic.
Oh, fuck you.
They definitely need to explain what unreactive, the stats on the unreactive is, so we know we can add it to the sort of numbers to know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just after third, but
But
yeah.
I'd have to wonder if they actually know what it is.
The thing is, though, they make it such a big deal about it, about putting a stat on a blueprint that can be found out anyway. But it's not. That's not the point of it. You know, it's the whole point is that we want to know what it is beforehand. We don't want to have to figure it out, and I just can't see why they can't see that. They think that it's not a big deal, but it kind of is. Maybe it's because when they build stuff, they build it instantly and they don't have to spend their own money to do it. So they don't see it as a big issue because they can find out instantly for nothing.
I just don't get why Kicks I think they're MI bloody 5 with their stats. Like, what's the big fucking secret? We're all playing the same game here.
Yeah, agreed.
Some
So, sorry. Right, Carol.
some people are willing to spend on that coin and test it out themselves, but a lot of players want to be more careful with how much they spend, and they want to know what each stat is, and they want to crunch the numbers first before they build something so they can get the best out of their fleets. And with a stat that's unknown, it's making it hard for some players to know what they're building.
Well, it's the reason. Well, it's one of the reasons why I haven't got rhinos built yet. Is because I like to work out the best possible way that I could build them before I go ahead and build them. I do that with every fleet that comes out. I'll make a build and I'll tweak it, and then I'll wait and see what else comes out, and then tweak it further and stuff like that. If we haven't got all of the information, then it's kind of pointless, really.
Here's the outside the box thing. You know how when some things come out and they don't seem to be working as intended, and we can clearly see it. I wonder if this is their way of covering up the fact that now we don't really know what it is, so we don't know if it is actually working as intended.
Can I just point something out? I saw Paolo's also pointed out there's an offer in game at the moment for people who are willing to coin. Unlucky for those who already coined their outpost, I'm sure you could use this for other things. There's a limited time offer. It reads, for a limited time, receive 20 hours structure build token times 12. So if I'm reading that correctly, that's 12 20-hour tokens. It says $49.99 value for $24.99. That's in Yankeeville dollars, which translates to £16 and 12 of Her Majesty's pounds and pence. So quite a good offer if you're wanting to speed up your outpost or use your tokens for anything else like turrets. And if you are willing to pay for it, it's a very reasonable price compared to what you would pay without it. So just something for the people willing to coin there, if you haven't already seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It is up for 1 day, 1 hour, 55 minutes.
Right.
I'm refreshing the game now to see if it pops up.
Right. So,
Hey, sorry, quick thing. If you purchase it, which I just did, there's currently a bug with it, and you're able to do it twice. I don't know if it's a bug or if you're allowed to, but just toss that out there.
Good to know.
There we go. So I take it everybody knows that there's a new time limited campaign that's coming out tomorrow. It's available for weeks. Caustic Warfare. Does everybody on the panel know that that's coming?
I didn't, but I've been working, so.
Right. Okay. So basically, it's a time limited campaign. It's going to be draconian and scourge targets fighting each other. So pretty much like the old war zones that we saw.
That sounds fun. I mean, it has the potential.
Like
it has the potential to be cheaper and easier to do than the raid if you drive well. Obviously, without seeing the targets, it's bloody hard to say. But assuming you can do what you did in the war zones and kind of use them as bait for each other, pick off the strongest target. So if the Drax are, I'm assuming they're not going to be as powerful as the Scourge, then use the Drax as a shield. Help them kill the Scourge, target the Scourge, and ignore the Drax. and we can kill Drax like a piece of piss. So save them till last.
And target everything that's got thermal on that, and if anything's left with non-thermal, you can use subs.
Good point. Really good point.
So yeah, that's a couple of little tricks there. What I wanted to get at as well was that there are some really neat prizes available. The Sharon torpedo available, which has a longer range than the Salt B but doesn't have the speed boost.
I'm not sure it's too great. I mean, I said it on the Wednesday show for anyone who hasn't seen it. In summary, I think that's more of a ship-based torp than a sub-based torp.
Agreed. But it does more damage than Siege Torp. The accuracy is the same as the Assault Torps, has a longer range than Assault B Torps. So they're definitely going to be nice and powerful. But they're pretty much designed predominantly, I think, to go on the Mastery Prize that's available in that, which is the new prototype Hunter interceptor class hull, but it's a prototype one, which is a beefed up version of the V2H. So I don't know if everybody's seen what this hull's got.
I've seen they've changed the stats since when we talked about it.
So does everybody know roughly what the setup is on the hull, or no? Do I need to go and get it up for you?
Well, they've increased the thermal since we talked about it.
Yeah,
And they've put an extra 5% evade and 5% less resistances. I know the concussive, I think, is dropped from 70 to 50, I think, quoting at the top of my head there.
If anyone's not aware, look in your shipyard, you can actually select one of the ships that you haven't got and it's in there, so you can look at the stats on it within.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. So yeah, it has gone down to 50% concussive instead of 70. The pen reload's gone down to 120%. The evade's gone up to 30, which is really useful. The ballistic and explosive and all that's gone down to 30. Concussive 50, I've already touched that. Assault deflections of 60. Combat speed, and that's the same. Sonar's the same at 74, but thermal's gone up to 85, which is really good because you outrange everything but the new torp. So no longer will your V2Hs get killed to my Nighthawks.
So yeah, basically, is anybody planning on going through this campaign and getting the new Hunter hull?
No.
Yep.
Bit of sarcasm there, Rob, was that?
No, I mean, well, it's a personal preference. It's like I was saying earlier. With this game, you pretty much build what you need and what you want. Don't feel fooled into following the newest and greatest things all the time. Don't get me wrong; it's a really nice ship. I think it's very much tailored for the raids. I'm not sure it's going to be that useful for much outside of the raid. Obviously killing subs will be good, but we already have sub killers. I think I've got 3 fleets that can kill Nighthawks already, so it would just be a raid hull. And I think a lot of people with the ships they've got have already got good raid hulls. So is it really worth the time to build and rank a new fleet before the raid? I'll leave that down to opinion, but I wouldn't argue it's essential.
I just put up a build on the Alliance crib, where if you're not going to go for the Hunter hull, this is definitely a really good raid fleet. Most of us already have V2Hs, and if you're able to get to tier 4, this will definitely be a good build for you. And it might even be good for other things besides raid, but just throwing that out there if you guys want to check that out. It's on the Alliance crib.
Can I just change one of your specials?
Yes, go ahead.
You've put CX3 on.
My bad.
If it's for the raid, I wouldn't recommend CX. I think MX would be good for the raid because, as far as I'm aware, there is ballistic. Maybe D5X because it's a bit lighter as well. You could probably fit on a little bit more heavier phalanx, maybe a couple of phalanx on the Frostburn as well.
Yeah, you could do that. I kept the Frostburn for my personal fleet because that's what my Frostburn's built right now. Obviously, besides the blade missiles. But yeah, this is definitely a fleet build that everyone can use. Assuming you have the tech available. Obviously, not everyone has it, but this could be a good baseline.
It is dock 11 fleet as well, just for those who might be saying, well, it's going to be dock 12. Just to let you know, with the fleet changes I've just made, I just changed the alloy to D5X only on the V2Hs. I haven't touched the Frostburn because you said you use that for other things, so I've left the CX3. And by doing that, you can change one of the Phalanx to a Phalanx 2, which will obviously increase your effectiveness against missiles, and it give you a little bit more missile defense as well.
Yeah, I think I just realized that that's actually a really good change right there.
And I just want to add as well, there's been a couple of videos posted around today of people using blade missile. I know I don't want to really go on and on about it, but if you're looking for a cheap refit to do for your V2Hs, get the blade missile on there if you can get it. Because one person posted that doing the Forsaken mission, his V2Hs were taking nearly 12 hours damage for doing an 85, and it's now down to 4 hours damage just by changing 2 of the missiles out.
Yeah, they have a lot of building damage. Definitely worth getting some on for the mission. And if you use siege battery with it as well, which would probably be advised in the mission anyway, it's going to increase it further.
Agreed. So, does anybody want to talk about anything else before we go tonight?
Arrow sticks.
No? Do you want to mention unreactive again?
I don't know. I'm running out of blood vessels to pop. Someone else wants to do it instead.
Explain unreactive kickside. We want to know the stats behind it so we can build our fleet around it properly, not just guessing.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly share a build that I've been playing with today. It is a dock12 build, but it's something just that I wanted to show people. It's just really a sort of general purpose base hitting and Forsaken mission and sort of all-round fleet really, but raid fleet as well. So I'm just going to share that up and show it up. So it is with rhinos. Let's find it. There we go. So it's just a blank shell Frostburn interceptor, just for the range and just for spotting really. Just a bog standard layout, not full of missiles, just the one missile on there. And then I've just loaded a Rhino up with a bunch of the new blade missiles on there and some disruptors, the new special which is going to be available in a time limited campaign, and the guided missile system on there. Obviously you can see the stats just here. Obviously there's 3 identical ships in this fleet, apart from that one because that's got an extra disruptor on it. But you know, you can see the stats here are quite good. You've got 72 ballistic, 40 concussive, 76 explosive and missile, 79 radioactive defense across the board here. 71% evade, which is going to be really nice. But just look at the amount of damage that you can get out of this. You know, you've got that remote targeting range of 148.2, normal range of 98.8. 21,759 a ship. So if you look at that across the fleet, 67,054 or 134,000 per reload. And then, you know, if you skull these up, it works out around about, if I remember rightly, about 0.4 seconds. Yeah, 0.42 seconds. So 67,000 damage every 0.42 seconds is going to be really good in the raid. So if you're thinking about doing something with some rhinos you've got hanging around, you know, just think about something maybe like this, which is going to help you out quite a lot in the raid. We'll post this up on the Battle Pirates Squad page so that you can have a look and you can tweak it But it's definitely something that I'm looking at for going for the next raid. Just thought I'd share it with you. What is there anything anybody wants to mention on that?
I was just thinking D5X on the Froster.
Yeah, could do. Yeah,
I'm not sure if that will give you enough weight for an extra disruptor, but it'll give you more explosive defense in case them rockets catch on top of you.
yeah, it's true. You could do either, really. I did. In fact, I thought I'd changed that, to be honest. Obviously, I haven't. But yeah, it gives you an extra 208 weight. It's okay with. But yeah, so I just thought I'd share that with people if they were wondering about what they should be aiming for or aiming towards, possibly for the raids. Yeah.
And also bear in mind that's with dot level 12 as well, I noticed in the corner, so
dock12, yeah.
make sure you get dot level 12 if you're looking to aim for that fleet before the raid.
Yeah, agreed. So go and buy the tokens. Right, I think that's just us for tonight, isn't it? I don't think we've got anything else we want to talk about. Anybody else wants to bring up anything
That's
else?
a good point to wrap up.
Alright, cool. So thank you guys for coming. And thank you to our lovely panel. Thank you to everybody in our chat. It's very good that you two all come out and see us every week. Obviously, we'll be back on Wednesday with the update show and next Friday with the community show. If you want to be on the community show, just drop us a message and we'll sort it out for you. Check out the BPC page and obviously Larry's article's a really good read. If you've got some extra questions about the blade missile or the countermeasure loaders as well as in there. And we shall see you all again soon.
Adios, amigos.